Okay, everybody, let's talk about some other things that you can do with Premiere Pro. So you can see I've still got the file that I was working with in the last video. And if I were to click in my timeline here on one of the videos, the effects controls will pop up. Now, if you've got one of these other tabs open up, you can go ahead and switch off it just by clicking on effect controls here, okay? So again, I'm going to click on that and then click on the video, and I can see some things that I can change in my video. So the first thing that I can do is I can change its position. So right now this is your X position, and if I click and drag on it, I can move that video from side to side. Okay, this is my Y position, and if I click on this one, I can move the video up and down. So if I wanted to move this video just to another spot, I could go ahead and do that. I could put half the video over here, and then I could do the same thing with this video. If I took this video and dragged it above, okay, so I might drag it up like this and drag the sound over like that, and then I can drag these kind of on top of each other. And now you can see with this video, if I were to do the same thing, I could move its position over to the side. I could have both these videos playing at the same time. Right. And that's one way that you could do something like a picture-in-picture effect or something along those lines. If I don't like that, I can always take this video and I can move it back to where it was just like that. I can take this and just put it back again to whatever position I need to. So I'll just click on the video, drag it back to where it belonged, and sort of have it ready to go. All right. The next one is scale. That does exactly what you might think it would do. I can click on this and I can zoom in and out on my image, on my video, just like this. If I know exactly how big I want to make it, I can click on it and type in 50%, and I know that that's going to be half the size that it was before. If I want it back to 100, I'll just click on it, type in 100, or again, I could just use the slider to zoom in and out. The rotation, same kind of deal. It's going to rotate the video, so if I wanted to turn it on its side or something like that, if I knew the exact angle I wanted it to be, 45 degrees, I could do that. If I wanted it to go the other way, I could do minus 45 degrees and have it go the other way. All right, 180 would obviously put it upside down. Or again, I could just click around, just click and drag and get it to where I want it to go. So I could just type in a 0 there and get it back to where it was. The anchor point, let's not worry about that for right now. The opacity is the next one that I want to talk about. This will make the video opaque. It'll make it so that you can see through it, okay? So I can click on this and drag it, and it looks like it's fading out. But if I were to bring the other video into play here and actually put this video on top, you can see now that I can see through the video, right? So it's kind of making it invisible. So I could kind of do that if I wanted to with the opacity, if I wanted to make it something that I could see through. And then below that, you've got some controls for things like volume. So I could adjust the volume. So if I have two videos that I'm having overlapping on each other, I could go ahead and make, if the audio for one was just overwhelming, I could make the audio louder or softer, whatever I needed to do. I got a panner so that I can change it so the video, the sound comes a little bit more from the left or a little bit more from the right. So there's a couple of different things that I can do here as well in terms of just correcting the video on the left channel and the right channel. So all of these different things I could go about doing, changing, and coming up with some crazy just combinations of things that I want to do. But basically for right now, I want to kind of reset everything. So I'll click back on this video, I'll make the scale 100%, I'll drag it back over to the side like that. All right, and again, the other thing you need to remember is that anything that is on top, that's what's going to be seen. So right now, this is the video that is right here. The other video is down below it. So unless I make this video smaller or something like that, I'm not going to see the other video. Notice how that video is on top. And then if I wanted to do like a picture-in-picture, like I said, you can move this into position like that. The word for today is going to be strength. So when you get that question in the quiz, make sure that you go and check the word strength. All right, now, the other thing that I can do with all of these is I can set up what's called a keyframe, okay? And the keyframe is going to let me make changes and sort of animate them. So watch how this is going to work. I've got my little guy up here in the upper left-hand corner, and let's say that I wanted to scale it bigger and animate it so that it stretches over a period of time. This little icon right here kind of looks like a stopwatch. I'm going to click on that, and notice that this keyframe just appeared right here in this timeline. So this keyframe basically says something important is about to happen right there. And what I want to do is now I've got a second scrubber here, okay? So I'm going to move this scrubber to the point where I want that animation to stop. So again, I want this to get bigger. I want it to get bigger starting right here. And as I drag this out, this is where I want it to get to 100%. So I can either drag this up to 100, or I can type right in here 100 like this, okay? So when I do that, notice that it automatically put a new keyframe in for me. And if I move the scrubber, notice that it's going to animate. So it's going to make it slowly bigger as we go through the timeline. If I want that to happen faster, I can drag this keyframe in a little bit tighter so that it doesn't take as long. Now you can see
So here's what we're going to do. Let's
go ahead and move like this.
Far away.
And I'm going to mute this sound so we don't have to hear it. So you can see how that animation just happened there, right? And again, I can zoom in on this little bar right here. If I click on this circle and drag it towards me, I can zoom in a little bit on this timeline so I can see this a little bit better. And I can move that a little bit closer and have it even faster. The other thing that I would probably want to have happen is I would want this to actually move to the second location. So this button right here, this will skip to the keyframes. These left and right arrows will let me jump to the keyframe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a keyframe here on my position. So I click on the stopwatch, a keyframe automatically moves to me, or appears for me. I'm going to click on this to go to the next keyframe. And now what I want to do is I want to move this, this video into place. So I'm going to click on that video, and I'm going to drop it down, and I'm going to move it over to the right. And I dropped it down a little bit too far, so I'm going to bring it back up a little bit, and then back to the left a little bit. And that's close enough. But now you see that when I do that animation, all right, it'll zoom in, but it's also going to move so that it's back in the center of the screen. You can do these kind of keyframe animations with just anything that has one of these stopwatches. So I could have it rotate. I could have it become more opaque or less opaque, so I could fade it in or fade it out. I could adjust the volume, same kind of thing. So it's just adding a keyframe and then creating, you know, whatever state you want it to be in, and then moving the scrubber and then changing that state. All right, so one more time, just so you can kind of see this with rotation, I'm going to go here and click to the previous keyframe. Okay, so now I'm at the start of it. So I go to my rotation, I click on the stopwatch, I move the scrubber, and actually I'm just going to click on the next keyframe, and I'm going to tell it to rotate 360 degrees. So that way it'll go all the way around as it spins. So now when we have that animation, and we play that, you can see it's going to spin while zooming in and moving into position. Okay, so stopwatch, create a keyframe, move to where you want the animation to end, and then change the state. All right, so that's going to take care of it for this video for right now. Make sure you take the quiz after you're done, and we will talk to you later.